Hey guys, welcome to the Week 7 recap of this special 10th anniversary Blood, Sweat, and Beers season. It was an enjoyable weekend, and I can still call it Week 7 because Week 8 doesn't start for another half an hour, although most of you will probably be watching this after Week 8 starts, so I apologize for that. But I enjoyed the games. It was a little bit bittersweet. I lost, but Washington beat the Cowboys. Redskins beat the Cowboys, so it's hard not to be excited about that, except for that Nathan completely spoiled that for me. I got off a plane in Texas Sunday evening, and I got a text from Nathan about the game. So bittersweet, especially being in Texas, which was kind of interesting. I wasn't in the Dallas area in particular, but being in Texas, there were a lot of people that I saw the first couple of days of the week, with cowboy shirts, jackets, the Star. Saw the Dallas Star quite a bit. I took the opportunity every time I saw someone to apologize for their weekend. Right, I decided that I would take that on myself to just say, I'm sorry for your weekend. What was interesting was not a single one of them asked why I was saying that. Not a single one of them asked who my team was. I was really hoping for an opportunity to tell them who my team was, but not a single one of them asked. They all just sort of went, "Oh yeah, it was tough." It was kind of an interesting. I know it was not a large group of Cowboy fans, but I was in Texas, so I imagine that that's very much typical of a Cowboy fan. And none of them seemed all that bright, and just not very aware. It was kind of interesting. I don't know if it was just by nature of being in Texas that's they're this way, or if maybe Jerry Jones has some sort of chemical he's putting into all of their shirts and all of the clothing that he sends out, and maybe that's what's causing it. But in any case, every single one of them just sort of, oh yeah, it's a bummer. But what was really interesting, what was funny, was one of the guys that I was there working with, not a sports fan in general, and he said, I feel like I'm kind of missing out on something with you saying that. And I said, yeah, it's kind of interesting that wherever you go, sports can tend to tie people together, can common bond. You can be in a sports bar watching a game, and you may be rooting for the same team or something. And I said, so every single one of those Cowboy fans, every time I saw that Dallas Cowboy Star on their shirt or on their jacket, I immediately disliked them, and so I immediately wanted to go give them a hard time, and I did that 4 or 5, maybe 6 times, and I said, see what you're missing out on, see the community that you're missing out on. Suddenly he realized why he wasn't all that into sports. So that was kind of a bummer, but it was an interesting experience to be there in the state of Texas, and especially right after Dallas lost. That was, again, bittersweet, but I had to go and open my big mouth last week and talk about how much scoring was going on, and 5 teams over 130 points a game. I dropped out of that elite club. There's only 4 of you now scoring over 130 points. Hopefully I'll get back there. Still pretty close at 125, but it was rough for most of us. A lot of blowouts. Again, John, you were closest, 14 points. Again, you were supposed to have won that game. I think we kind of talked about that, but average margin of victory was pushing 40 points, a little over 38 points per game that we had here this past weekend. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if we need to be a little bit. I don't know where the parity, where it went. I don't know why we're having these huge scores, but we'll see. Joey, nice job going 7-0, tying the record. That's a little bittersweet too, because it was my record at 7-0. I would say that congratulations on one hand, but I think every single one of us now is hoping you go 0-6. And if anybody says they're not, that they truly want you to do well this season, they're either lying to you or themselves, or maybe both. So not that we don't want you to do well, but we don't want you to do well the rest of the season. Sorry about that. But for now, congratulations, and we hope that the 0-6 slide is coming, so that you can end at a nice 7-6 by the end of the season. Everybody else, we're kind of muddling around in the middle. You're up at the top. John is kind of hanging out at the bottom. Not too far out of it though, only 3 games out of first place in the East Division. So who knows what's going to happen? It's kind of all up in the air. The only thing we do know is Keith won't win the championship. Enjoy Week 8.